Tantor Audio presents True Bliss by B.J. Harvey, narrated by Lucy Rivers and Christian Fox. Keep listening after True Bliss for 2 bonus chapters from B.J. Harvey. Prologue: Romeo and Juliet. Kate. When will it be my turn? When will I get past all the frogs and find my prince? I've always been a dreamer, a girly girl who wants the dream courtship, the big princess wedding, the white picket fence and a yard full of kids. I know that I'm still young at 24 and that my biological clock is far from stopping, but I still have a lot of time up my sleeve to find that once-in-a-lifetime love. My one true love. But I'm impatient. I'm antsy, and I'm sick of being the single one. I go out with Mac and Daniel, and it's obvious that I'm the third wheel. And the problem is with me. They don't care one bit, but I do. I'm sick of Mr. Wrong, Mr. Bad Breath, and Mr. Grabby Hands. Oh, and don't get me started on Mr. Say I Love You after one date to get into your pants. They're the worst. This is why I've instigated the 3-date rule. No sex or below-the-waist action until after 3 dates. It seems like a good time frame to weed through the wannabes. Except, so far there haven't been any 3rd dates. I want to be loved. Is that so wrong? See, here's the problem. I don't just want a good love, one of those everyday loves that you hear about. I want the kind of crazy love we've been warned about. The kind of love that makes your heart skip a beat. The kind of love that makes you want to dance in the rain and bottle up the sunset while screaming at the top of your lungs. The kind of love that authors write about, musicians sing about, and lovers dream about. I want true, total body, mind, and soul bliss. Surely the man who can give me all of that is out there somewhere. Maybe he's even looking for me. Maybe I've already met him, and our lives will intersect again. There was one guy that piqued my interest 3 months ago, but he was firmly in the hands-off category. He was definitely knight in shining armor material. A drunken night at the bar went scarily wrong, and he swooped in and saved me. He brought me home, and I came on to him. Okay, I literally threw myself at him, but he rebuffed my advances and put me to bed after making me take some Advil. I fell asleep with a kiss on the forehead and hearing him tell me that as much as he'd like to lose himself in me, he didn't want me to regret him in the morning. So I have to forget about him and wait until I meet my knight. I'll continue sifting through the frogs, the toads, the dwarfs, and the dragons, and continue being insanely jealous of my deliriously happy pregnant best friend and her perfect dream guy. I've resigned myself to the fact that listening to their hot and horny loud sex through my bedroom wall is the closest I'll get to any action. It must be my turn next. It has to be. Maybe it's time to be more proactive. Go looking for him instead of waiting for him come to me. That's it. Operation Prince Charming is officially underway.
Xander, 4 months earlier. So, Mr. Roberts, why do you want to train to become an officer in the Chicago Police Department? I clear my throat and take a moment to think about the question. Nope, don't need to think about this one. It's a no-brainer. Well, sir, I've had to look out for my mother and younger sisters for most of my life. When my father passed away, I was the only boy and the eldest. I felt I had to stand up and become the man of the house. I have a very protective nature, and I wish to serve this fine city that I'm proud to call home. The catalyst for applying now is that a few weeks ago I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time, and I was able to save a friend of mine from what was sure to have become a sexual assault, or possibly worse. It made me realize that the situation could have escalated so easily, and I was both glad and proud that I could be there to protect her. It confirmed that this is what I want to do with my life. I want to protect and serve, and nothing would make me prouder than to do that as a member of the CPD. Mr. Roberts, you are exactly the type of man the CPD recruits. I can't give you an official answer today, but I am confident that you will make a great addition to the next induction of rookies. The official documentation will be sent out within the next 2 weeks. Once you have received word of your successful application, be sure to contact us for training details." The recruiter stands up and walks around his desk, holding out his hand to me. I put my hand in his to shake it. "I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Roberts, but something tells me you're not going to need it. You're going to be a fine asset to this city and the department." "Thank you so much. You just made me a very happy man." Chapter 1. Collide. Xander. "Take it off! Take it off!" I hear the women chant. I'm gyrating my hips just inches away from a bride-to-be's blindfolded face, my hands on top of hers as they grip my butt, trying to pull me closer. This bride is so drunk that I'm surprised she's still standing. They were doing tequila shots when I arrived, and the champagne has continued to flow the entire time I've been here. I've done my normal tricks. The pizza delivery boy routine is a firm favorite. The client, usually a friend of the recipient, answers the door, and I pretend to be delivering a pizza to the wrong house. By the time I'm dragged into the living room, the women are pumped up and begging to see some skin. The music is switched on, and my routine begins. Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake is always a good starter. By the time I'm ripping my pants off and honing in on the bride-to-be, my ears are ringing from the hollering and screaming out. Let me tell you, you may think guys can be crude and vulgar, but holy heck, some of the things I've had yelled at me in the middle of a routine would make Hugh Hefner blush. Getting turned on isn't a problem. Cracking a stiffy in a room of women is not my idea of fun, so I always whack one off before a gig to avoid the chance of a surprise erection. It was part of Stripping 101 that my manager taught me. Take care of yourself beforehand so that you lessen the chance of poking anyone's eye out. You'd think I'd be a pro at this stripping thing by now, especially since I've been doing it for the past year, but I still get nervous as all hell beforehand. I can never anticipate how a crowd is going to react, how hands either going to get, or whether I'll get out of there alive and with my thong intact. Believe me, I've learned to carry a spare set of clothes in my car. I'm only stripping on the weekends now, just enough to cover the rent and bills. I'm at the Chicago PD Academy 5 days a week, training to become an officer. I've always wanted a career, but after 4 years at college and no end in sight, I dropped out and tried joining the workforce. 4 weeks later, and with no job on the horizon, I answered an ad in the newspaper for a male entertainer. Imagine, if you will, having to strip down to your underwear and shake your ass in front of a group of drunken ladies who think that because they've paid for you to dance for them, they can touch you in places that would otherwise be frowned upon in public. My balls are fondled nightly, which I know sounds like a guy's wet dream, but I've actually had a work-related injury caused by a 40-year-old lady, her fake fingernails, and a fondle and twist gone wrong. My balls were black and blue for a week after that. Another Friday night, and I've just finished my second bachelorette party for the night. I've called into 42nd Street Bar on my way home to catch up with my roommate, Zach, who tends bar there on the weekends. A cold bud after a gig is the perfect way to wind down, and this particular brew is going down very well tonight. Usually I'd be all up for burying myself balls deep inside a willing female, but since my friend Mac met her boyfriend, I haven't felt like going out on the prowl. It's not as if I'm heartbroken. Mac and I were friends who just happened to go off in the sack together. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't get my fair share of phone numbers and offers from clients, but I have a rule about that. You don't screw on the job. No clients, no friends of clients, and no female colleagues. The only exception to that rule was Mac, but the chemistry between us was scorching. I mean, we could barely control ourselves when we first met. I banged her up against the side of her friend's house half an hour after meeting her. It was so fucking hot. A few months ago, I thought that something might happen with her best friend, Kate. Having saved her from a drunken asshole who wouldn't take no for an answer, and getting her home safely, she kissed me with those perfect, plump lips of hers. And it took all of my self-restraint to stop it from going further, but I didn't want her to regret it in the morning, even though I know I wouldn't have regretted a damn thing about being with her. Kate. My fantasy girl personified. From her fiery red hair to her 5'0" body with curves for miles. She's a good girl, a take-home-to-mom kind of girl. Definitely not a one-night stand type of girl who you'd subject to the walk of shame the next morning. Unfortunately, there is also the whole sloppy seconds issue, which doesn't bother me one bit, but I know it would bother her. She'd be a good friend, though. And I don't have many female friends. mainly because women only seem to want me on their arm, making them look good. But as soon as I catch on to that fact, I'm out the door. I work hard to stay in shape. I have to keep up with it to stay stripping, but that doesn't make me a juice head. Not only does a woman have to like me as a person and not just arm candy, she needs to be as adventurous as I am, in and out of the bedroom. I have this thing for sex in public places. The thrill of getting caught with my pants down and the excitement of someone possibly watching seems to get me harder than nothing else. Having someone as equally into exhibitionism as I am would be a surefire winner in my book. What I really need is a good girl with a naughty side. A girl who I can take home to Mom and who I can introduce to my baby sisters, but who is also a firecracker behind closed doors. A girl who has the perfect mix of sugar and spice. That would be my perfect girl. About 3 weeks ago, Zach and I got drunk one night after work. We pulled out his laptop and started surfing the net. It was going well, lots of laughs over viral videos of idiots doing stupid shit, until Zach saw an ad for Chicago singles. It was all downhill from there. Dude, you gotta do it. I know. I dare you to go on Chicago singles for a month and go on at least one blind date. Zach slurred before cracking up laughing like he just said the funniest thing ever. Fuck that. Do you know what kind of girls are on that? Cougars who are looking for arm candy, or ugly broads who can't get a man any other way. It's desperate, dude. No fucking way. I'll make it interesting for you, he'd said, and it was suddenly a done deal. 2 months free rent if I completed the dare. If I didn't, I'd have to work 1 shift a week at the bar for Zach for a whole month. I'm just downing the last of my bottle when I see a flash of red hair out of the corner of my eye. Turning my head, my eyes follow the short redhead to a booth where she sits down with the man who looks old enough to be her father, let alone her date. She turns her face toward the bar, and her bright blue eyes widen when she sees me. My smile disappears when I see her shake her head at me before looking back toward her date. I turn back to the bar and hold my arm up to signal Zach to bring me another beer. A quick nod, a flick of his wrist, and another ice-cold bottle of Bud is sliding along the bar toward me. Spinning around on my stool, I lean back against the bar and set myself up to watch the show that Kate and her dad date are about to provide. Before she sits down, she removes her black crop jacket and exposes her porcelain skin shoulders. She sits up higher in her chair when she sees me staring at her, pushing her shoulders back in a defiant pose, making it obvious that she's trying hard not to let my presence affect her. I love the fact that I'm getting to her. I don't know why, but I like seeing her being as affected by me as I am. I'm about to get up to go say a friendly hello and make this night a hell of a lot more interesting when Zach comes around the bar and sits next to me. "How's your gig, bro?" he asks, taking a drink of his own beer. Same old story. Mother-in-law-to-be had too much wine and went all Grabby Hands on me. Managed to escape with my junk uninjured and intact. I smile, but don't take my eyes off Kate. Beautiful, feisty Kate looks hot as hell right now. She's wearing a bright red dress with a plunging V neckline which dips halfway down her stomach, giving every man in the room an awesome view of her cleavage. And God, those tits look like they'd be the perfect handful. I can just imagine pushing my hard body against hers and wrapping my arms around her, cupping them as she leans back into me. Then spinning her around and taking her rose-red nipples into my mouth as she moans sexily. Holy shit, down, boy. I only hope that dress of hers is stuck to her like glue, or else she's going to give her sugar daddy a heart attack. If that's the plan, someone needs to tell her that you're supposed to wait until after the wedding for that. "Bro, you're being obvious," Zach says, bumping my shoulder. I know, and she knows I'm looking. I look over at him and wink. "She's with a date, man. It's not your usual style." I frown when I realize he's right. I don't go after the unavailable or unattainable, but Kate, well, I'm not sure what she is. Definitely not unavailable. That night a few months ago proved that. Unattainable? To me, she's a perfect 10. I'd definitely be punching above my weight with her. I'd be the one walking around like a cocky SOB if Kate were mine. I know that, but look at him. He's old enough to be your dad. It's like watching a train wreck about to happen. I chuckle as she looks at me again and starts blushing. Even from across the bar, there is no mistaking the redness creeping up her cheeks. It's cute as all hell, and my mind wanders, imagining other situations where I could make her blush. My cock starts to harden as I blatantly check her out. The dress gathers at her waist before falling into a short, fitted skirt, leaving plenty of flawless skin exposed as my gaze travels down to the sexiest pair of black heels I have ever seen. God, if I were half-mast before, I'm full speed ahead now, with images of Kate spread out in front of me, her red hair fanned across my pillow, and wearing nothing but those heels and a sultry smile. Zan, you either need to get laid or go home, or both. Seriously, getting a boner in the middle of a bar while staring at a total stranger is not a good look, he says with a chuckle. I groan, turning around to save myself from the torture that is my new favorite redhead's disaster date. You're telling me. I down the rest of my beer before standing up from the stool. Might be best if I leave you to it. See you at home, then? Should do. Unless I get a better offer, of course, he adds with a wink. That man is never short of offers. All good. Keep an eye on her for me, I ask, tilting my head toward Kate. Sure. So, you already know her? Yeah, Mac's best friend. Ah, I see. She the one you told me about? Zach asks, shooting a glance in Kate's direction. Yeah, man. That's her. Damn. And you're sure you aren't going to go there? From where I'm standing, she's smoking hot, and you're more than well aware of that fact. She was drunk. She's not the type of girl to have a one-night stand, I explain. All good, then. I'll watch out for her. Hell, she's so hot I'd watch her anyway. I growl under my breath, earning a chuckle from Zach. Thanks. Be good, or if you can't be good, be as bad as I am. I pat him on the back as I take one last look at Kate before shaking my head and walking out the door. I must text Mac and find out what the deal is with Kate. She doesn't come across as the type of woman who's looking for a sugar daddy, which makes her date even more of a crack-up. And she definitely noticed me. That blush all but gave her away. As I walk out the door into the warm night air, I find myself wanting to find out more about the enigma who is Kate McGuinness. And I'd also give anything to see her in those heels again, preferably naked.
Kate. I knew coming to 42nd Street Bar would be a mistake. Roger had seemed nice enough on his profile, and the messages we'd exchanged were interesting enough, but the moment I'd met him outside and realized that he was at least 10 years older than he said, I knew this would be yet another Kate dating disaster. I'm starting to think I need to write a book about how not to date in Chicago, seriously. I like to think I'm a pretty good judge of character, but lately, my judgment has been seriously impaired. Scratch that. Seriously off-fucking-kilter. Mac and Daniel acting like a pair of loved-up teenagers has made yearning for my own happily ever after increase tenfold. So last week, I took the plunge and decided to sign up to an internet dating website. In fact, when I'd told Mac about it one lazy Sunday afternoon, she was so on board with it that she'd grabbed my laptop and we sat on the couch together, writing and rewriting my dating profile. First, the Tell Us About Yourself section. My name is Kate, and I'm a 24-year-old hairdresser, born and bred in Chicago. I'm looking for my happily ever after, and after searching the kingdom far and wide, I've decided to give internet dating a shot. I'm a 5'1" natural redhead with great style and a wicked sense of humor. I like to socialize and meet new people, and I'm always up for new experiences. I'm looking for a man between 23 to 30 years of age, with a great job, strong family ties, and who likes to have fun and try new things like me. No photo, no reply. Then we'd needed to upload a photo. After searching through all of my social media accounts, Mac and I had finally agreed on a photo taken of me a few months ago, showing my profile from the back. With my hair blown out in a 50s pin-up girl style. My face was hidden in the photo, which is what I'd wanted. I'd be mortified if anyone recognized me on the site. Internet dating is still a social no man's land, but it's more acceptable these days, no longer seen as a last-ditch attempt to find somebody, anybody, to love you. I see it as a new and different way to meet people who you may not have otherwise come into contact with. Your lives may not have been destined to cross paths, so it's almost a way of bypassing destiny and taking a chance. And that's what this is for me. Taking a chance at finding my Mr. Perfect. There is someone for everyone, and I'm anxious to find mine. Not because I'm getting old or anything. God, I'm only 24. It's more about feeling left out, or worse still, feeling like the third wheel with Mac and Daniel. I need my partner, my other half. I know he's out there somewhere. He has to be. My mother is frequently reminding me that I need a man to take care of me. A worthwhile man who treats you like the princess you are. I kind of wish I hadn't had the whole happily ever after idea drilled into me from a young age. All the stories are the same. The knight in shining armor sweeps the princess off her feet, and they ride off into the sunset. My brothers did it with their wives, and my father did it with my mom. That leaves me as the only single person left in my family. So, back to my dating profile. I'd needed to choose a username, something non-personal, not easily identifiable, and of course, something to garner attention. Well, the type of attention I'm looking for. Mac had grabbed the laptop from me and giggled as she entered a name and pushed submit before I could even say yes or no. With a huge gulp of my wine, I'd looked at my profile and choked as I saw my name. But sure enough, within minutes, I'd had my first kiss from an anonymous admirer. An hour later, I'd received 4 photos of various erect and multi-sized cocks. After giggling like middle schoolers in sex education class, I'd updated my profile. P.S. No cock pictures or requests for naked photos from me. I'm sure you're more than happy with your penis and are excited to show it around to strangers. But I'm looking for a person who doesn't just think with their trouser snake, pork sword, or purple-headed womb ferret. Thanks all the same. When Daniel arrived with 3 pizzas under his arm, Mac had taken great pleasure in pulling him over to the computer and showing him our achievement for the day. Shaking his head, he'd quietly chuckled before turning serious. Just be careful, and make sure we know where you are and who you're with. I like Daniel. He's like my new big brother, and he's made Mac the happiest I've ever seen her in our whole 15-year friendship. Okay, back to my current date with Roger. When we meet, he sheepishly apologizes for lying about his age, explaining that he didn't think I'd give him a chance if I knew he was 20 years older than me. Too fucking right I wouldn't have. But because we are both here now anyway, I agreed to have a quick drink with him. What a mistake that is. Once we get inside and find a table, he sits down opposite me, not stopping to pull out my chair or offering to take my coat when I slip it off. Then he proceeds to order a glass of cider. Freaking cider! Unfortunately, that wasn't my first sign that this date is going to be a one-time deal. Then, with a niggling feeling I'm being watched, I scan the room to find a set of familiar dark blue eyes staring at me. Knowing that I'm looking good and not wanting to show how embarrassed I am, I push my shoulders back and keep my attention on my date and not on the sexy, brooding, simply perfect specimen of a man across the bar who won't take his eyes off me. But as much as I try, I can't concentrate. 5 minutes of listening to Roger tell me about himself, and I know that this date is a lost cause. What I found out about the aging Roger is that not only is he old enough to be my father, he's also an accountant who works for City Hall, a job he's had since he left college in the 80s. He's also never been out of the country, still lives down the road from his parents, and likes to play chess in his spare time. He's never had a speeding ticket, never been arrested, and his hair looks like a toupee on crack. I'm a hairdresser, so I always check out people's hair, and this monstrosity on his head? He's swished it to the left side of his face and has so much product in it. I'm scared to strike a match near him for fear of setting him alight. When he starts to discuss the merits of chess with me, I decide to chance a look toward Xander, my cheeks flaming as he catches me looking at him. Damn, he's looking hot. He's wearing a pair of black slacks that hug him in all the right places, and a white wife-beater underneath, an open dark blue dress shirt that makes his eyes look like the bluest of oceans that you just want to dive naked into. I haven't seen or talked to him since the night I was drunk and tried to seduce him. He'd saved me from a guy I'd been dancing with in this very bar. The guy started to come on very strong, very quickly, and when he wouldn't take no for an answer, getting forceful with his hand pushing under my skirt, Xander stepped in, punched him in the face, and then grabbed my hand and pulled me out of the bar. As soon as he'd hailed a cab and ushered me inside, he gave the driver my address and wrapped his arms around me as I cried into his shirt. My body shook violently as the reality of the moment suddenly hit home. He'd rubbed his hand up and down my arm, kissing my head and murmuring words that to this day I can't remember, but I do know he calmed me down and made me feel safe. It was exactly what I needed in that moment, a moment that has forever been etched into my brain. But me, being drunk, stupid, and totally enamored with my knight in shining armor, pushed my luck as soon as we were inside my apartment and went to kiss him. He'd met my lips with enthusiasm, and the kiss was like one of those that you read about in romance novels. Our tongues tangled together, and our lips meshed as if we were made for each other. Fireworks were exploding around us, the world stopped, and it felt like all of my dreams had come true in that one kiss. But when I pulled back and asked him if he wanted to spend the night with me, he froze. He'd stared at me for what seemed like forever, before shaking his head and leading me down the hallway to find my bedroom, telling me to get into bed. He'd returned with a large glass of water and 2 Advil, kissed me goodbye on the forehead, then turned to leave before I could conjure up a response. Minutes later, I'd blacked out. Tonight is the first time I've seen him since that night, and as the memory of my embarrassing behavior comes flooding back to me, I have to look away as a blush takes over my face. It's still just as mortifying now as it was the morning after. I haven't even told Mac about what happened. That was the night she freaked out and ended up at Daniel's apartment before running out on him again in the middle of the night.
Kate, I think I better go. It's getting close to 10 p.m. and I need to get home to feed my cat, Mr. Buttons.
And there it is, the final nail in the date's coffin. Absolutely, Roger. Thanks for having a drink with me. I'll be okay getting home. You just worry about getting home to Mr. Buttons, I say, masking the huge relief I'm feeling at not having to explain how I won't be seeing Roger the accountant again. He stands up and takes a step toward me, holding his hand out to shake it. Who the hell shakes their date's hand? Have a good night, Roger. I've just got to go to the ladies. See you around. I shake his hand awkwardly before standing up and walking toward the bar, stopping when I realize that Xander is no longer at the bar. I catch the eye of the barman. Hi, sorry, but is the man who is sitting here still around?
Nope, he says with a sly grin. But since I live with the guy, I'm sure I can pass on a message for you.
Oh, shit, no, don't do that, thanks anyway, I reply, flustered as I rush out of the door and jump into the first cab I can find. Shit! Now Xander will know I asked about him. God knows what he'll make of that. Looks like my Friday night is a total disaster all round. Chapter 2. Girlfriend. Kate. I come home to an empty house and a note from Mac saying that she's spending the weekend at Daniel's apartment, but to call if I need her. I grab my phone as I'm kicking my gorgeous black heels off my feet, stepping into my plush pink slippers that make me feel like I'm walking on clouds. Kate. You better be having a better night than me. Boring Roger the accountant who likes to play chess was a bust. Date from hell number 1 out of the way. Mac. Oh, hon, sorry you had a bad night. If I was there, I'd put a Channing Tatum movie on and eat ice cream with you while you finish off that bottle of white in the fridge. Kate. You know me so well. Give Superman a hug from me and tell him he'd better be looking after my girl and little superhero. Mac. He has. Twice, in fact. Winking.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?